Hello from Freedomtax Accounting. We are an accounting firm that has been providing quality tax and accounting services now for over 20 years. Today is September 14th, and we are going to talk about sad news coming from Congress that if you have been following the PPP loan news, you know that for the last couple of weeks, the Congress has been saying that they are working on a bill that may automatically forgive more than 80% of all PPP loans, but now they're saying that maybe they will not automatically forgive all PPP loans. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now remember that we are recording this video on September 14th. We always emphasize the date because the PPP program has been constantly changing. So whatever we discuss today in this video may change as soon as tomorrow. So that's the importance of subscribing to our channel, where we will do our best to bring you the latest and correct information regarding the PPP loans. Okay, now remember before we continue that this video is intended for educational purposes and should not be taken as legal or tax advice. You should consult with your financial professional about your unique financial situation before acting on anything discussed in these videos. Freedomtax Accounting or its members cannot be held liable for any use or misuse of this content. Now, to understand why Congress may now say that they will not automatically forgive most PPP loans, we gotta take a look back at what the PPP loan is and what was its purpose. Okay, the PPP loan was a lifeline designed for businesses in the CARES Act that was signed back in March. Okay, since March, over $535 billion in aid have been provided to small businesses, and over 5 million PPP loans have been approved. Remember that the purpose of the program was to make a huge cash infusion into the business to help them pay their employees and other qualified expenses as rent, mortgage interest, and utilities. Okay, very important to remember the purpose, because this is why they may not approve an automatic forgiveness for PPP loans. Remember, purpose of PPP loan was to pay employees and to pay rent, mortgage interest, and utilities. Now, the attractive feature of the PPP loan program was that if the funds are used correctly, the loans would be 100% forgiven. So basically, it's free money for the business that got the loan if they used the loan correctly. Now, the problem is that the PPP loan forgiveness is a lot of work. Okay, businesses have to submit a PPP forgiveness application, either Form 3508 or Form 3508 EZ, depending on your case. The businesses have to submit the PPP forgiveness application to the lender or the bank that gave them the funds. Now, then the lender has to start a process of forgiveness, and the lender determines the amount of loan forgiveness with the help of the SBA. Now, banks are saying that this process is going to be too much work for them and that it's not profitable for them to do it. So basically, that's why banks are stalling. Even though the SBA already opened the PPP forgiveness portal back in August 10th. Basically, since August 10th, the banks are able to accept PPP forgiveness applications, but they're not doing so. Why? Because the banks are waiting to see if the Paycheck Protection Small Business Forgiveness Act gets approved in Congress. This is a bill that if it gets approved in Congress, basically every PPP loan under $150,000 will get automatically forgiven. If approved, it will alleviate a lot of the work for the banks. Let's see, for example, if this is the data coming straight from the SBA, these are all the PPP loans that are under $150,000. If you do the math, 87.4% of PPP loans are under $150,000. So that's why the banks want that every loan under $150,000 to be automatically forgiven, because then they won't have to do all this work. So it's basically like a win-win situation if this bill gets approved. Why? It alleviates other work on the bank to do the forgiveness work. The government resources would be better served to focus on audits of the larger loans, and it will also alleviate all the work that the small business owners has to do in a PPP loan forgiveness process. Now, if it's such a great idea, then why are some congressmen now saying that they may not approve the bill that will automatically forgive PPP loans under $150,000, which a couple of weeks ago a lot of congressmen were approving, and they were supporting this bill? Okay, now, in our personal opinion, even though this bill does not get approved, that they do not forgive all PPP loans under $150,000, we still think that other PPP loans will get automatic forgiveness, and we will go into detail further on in this video. Okay, so once again, if it's a good idea, if the banks are going to get help, if the small business owners are going to get help, if it's going to be better for the government to spend the funds in auditing bigger loans, then why are now congressmen saying that they may not automatically forgive all PPP loans under $150,000? Sadly, because of a lot of fraud that has been going around. Unfortunately, if you have been seeing the news, every day there's a new news source coming out with news about, unfortunately, unethical business owners that have committed fraud. They're using the funds the way they're not supposed to. They're taking funds that they're not supposed to take. So because there's so much fraud with the PPP loan, the government may now want to check, first of all, if the funds were used correctly, especially if they were used for payroll. Okay, that's the biggest thing the government wants to check, that if a business owner got the PPP loan, that they were actually using it to pay their employees. Okay, and if you got the correct amount of funds that you were eligible for. Okay, well, even though they do not approve this bill, we feel that, and this is our speculation of what's going to happen, we think there is still hope for some other business owners. Okay, for example, even though Congress does not approve that all PPP funds under $150K get automatically forgiven, we feel that other PPP loans will get automatically forgiven, and those will be sole proprietorships, the self-employed, independent contractors, or single members LLC, or basically any business that files the Schedule C. Okay, obviously we would like that Congress approves that every loan under $150,000 gets automatically forgiven. That will help a lot of business owners. But now that the government is saying that they may not approve an automatic forgiveness for all PPP under $150,000, we feel that sole proprietors, self-employed, independent contractors, basically any business that filed the 2019 Schedule C, should get automatic forgiveness. Why? Because it makes sense. Okay, why does it make sense that sole proprietors, self-employed, get automatic PPP forgiveness? They usually don't have payroll, so the government doesn't have to check if the owner used the funds to pay their staff, their employees, because usually self-employed only pay themselves. Okay, usually self-employed, they don't have a separate office. They usually work out of their home. so they don't have to have business utility expenses. And also the PPP forgiveness rules already say that if a self-employed used all the funds as owner compensation, meaning that if you're self-employed and you can show that you used all the PPP funds to pay yourself, that's going to be 100% forgiven. So basically you don't have to show evidence that what you use the funds for. You just have to show that you paid yourself and you can use the funds for whatever you want. Okay? So we think it's a good idea that at least if Congress says that they will not automatically forgive all PPP loans to be forgiven under $150,000, we feel that it's a good idea to at least put automatic forgiveness for the PPP loan for self-employed, independent contractors, and sole proprietors. This segment of business owners should benefit from automatic forgiveness, okay? And that's a good idea because it's also going to alleviate some of the work for the banks. Why? Because remember that the max PPP loan that a self-employed should have received was $20,833. So it's going to be under this tier. So it's under $50K. So 68% of PPP loans were under $50,000. Now we're not saying that this 68%, all of it are self-employed, but we can make sure that a big chunk of it are self-employed. So the banks are still going to enjoy the benefit of having to process a lot less PPP loan forgiveness applications. But we have to wait. We basically have to wait till Congress to see what happens. We really hope that if Congress decides not to automatically forgive all PPP loans under $150,000, that they at least consider and approve that all self-employed independent contractors get automatically forgiveness for the PPP. Okay? Now, so that's basically the case. So we feel that that's what should happen, but this is the second most common question we get here in office. Will there be a second PPP loan program? We think yes. Okay? Why? Small businesses are still struggling and they need more financial help. Money from the first PPP program is still available. They did not use all the funds. And in the current negotiation in Congress for the new stimulus package, a second PPP is part of the negotiation. But the second PPP program may have a lot of different eligibility rules. What people think is going to happen is that for the second PPP program, Congress is going to have businesses prove that they are really going through financial hardship. So basically, what people think is going to happen is that they're going to make you show evidence that your 2020 sales are lower than your 2019 sales. So that's why we are helping our clients, even though there's not a second PPP program approved yet. Every news and coming straight out of Congress, we think that's what's going to happen with the second PPP. You are going to have to provide evidence that your 2020 sales are lower than your 2019. So we are helping our clients gather their 2019 and their 2020 financial statements, their 2019 and 2020 monthly bank statements, and the 2019 and 2020 payroll reports. So start getting these documents ready, because as soon as the second PPP is approved, you have everything ready to submit your application. Now, we did do a video on how to prepare for the second PPP. You can watch it on our YouTube channel, and we are also going to provide a link to the video on the description below. Okay? Thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you have received value from this video. If you have, please like and share this video. Also subscribe to our channel. We are doing our best to keep you informed with the latest information and correct information, everything related with the SBA program. This is our contact information. If you have any tax or accounting needs, even though we are in Florida, we can provide services for any individual or small business that is in any of the 50 U.S. states. Remember that we are part of Freedom Group. We are a group of 4 companies where we have the tax accounting firm, immigration law firm, a real estate business, and an insurance and financial planning company. So we can help you in many ways. Remember to subscribe to our channel and watch this video. We suggest that you watch this video where you will find additional tax credits that are available for small businesses during the coronavirus pandemic, so it will help you in your cash flow of your business. Once again, thank you and God bless you. Bye.